Cousins, let's talk about J. Cole and The Fall Off because for an album that was marketed as the grand finale, the magnum opus, the project that was supposed to cement J. Cole's legacy once and for all, the chart performance has raised a few eyebrows. What's up, cousins? Welcome back to the crib. Your favorite cousin Moni here. Please do me a favor and tap that like button, hype up this video, and share it with someone you love. You already know it helps us get into the algorithm and it helps us continue to grow our community. So, The Fall Off was released on February 6th, 2026, and it debuted at number one on the Billboard 200 with 280,000 equivalent album units sold. Of that total, 113 came from pure sales, largely driven by vinyl purchases, while the album generated roughly 170 ish million streams during its opening week. Now, on paper, that is a very strong debut. Shout out to J. Cole, give him his tens. But 4 months later, the conversation looks very different. As of this week, The Fall Off has officially exited the Billboard 200 after just 18 weeks, y'all. That makes it the shortest charting studio album in J. Cole's entire career. For comparison, 2014 Forest Hill Drive is currently sitting at number 151 in its 600 plus week on the chart and remains the only J. Cole album still charting today. Now, let's be clear, an 18-week run is not a failure by normal standards. I mean, most artists will gladly take it. The reason this story is noteworthy is because of the expectations attached to the album. This wasn't presented as just another J. Cole project. This was The Fall Off, the album that many fans believe would be his blueprint. According to J. Cole, this was his blueprint. This was his masterpiece, his best body of work to date. He has been working on this project for over a decade. And Cole gave himself every possible advantage. The project arrived as a double disc album with more than 20 plus tracks. In today's streaming era, longer albums often benefit from inflated streaming numbers because more songs means more opportunities to rack up the plays. We've seen artists across the industry load projects with extra records simply to play the longevity game. But in this case, the strategy doesn't appear to have translated into long term chart endurance. The album never produced a number one hit on the Billboard Hot 100. Its highest charting single, 2-6, peaked at number 16. And despite the strong opening week, The Fall Off spent just 3 weeks inside of the top 10 and only 11 weeks inside of the top 50 before eventually disappearing from the chart altogether. Now, personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the album, but if you spent any time online, you would have thought the coal miners had discovered the second coming of Illmatic. The internet chatter made it sound like this was the definitive J. Cole album, according to his fans. Then again, maybe his fans really are enjoying it. Maybe they're just enjoying it offline. Maybe they're not streaming it. They did buy a bunch of vinyl, so that kind of makes sense. Maybe they're sitting at home spinning those vinyl records and living their best life. And if that's the case, salute to them because physical media still matters. One thing J. Cole absolutely succeeded at was moving product. You know, he got in his Honda, it broke down a few times, but he got in his Honda, he hit the pavement, and he went out there and he sold the CDs, he sold the vinyls. So those per sales numbers were impressive. So shout out to J. Cole for that. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shocked by how quickly this album left the charts. Also, before we even move forward, let's make it clear that just because an album doesn't perform that well on the charts doesn't really matter. It's like hip hop wasn't built on chart success, right? We all can agree with that. But we have a story to do. We have a story to tell. And today we're sitting here on June 23rd, 2026. The album came out in February, and 4 months later, it's already gone from Billboard 200. Again, this was supposed to be the album, the one, the crowning achievement, the project that would stand above everything else in his catalog. Instead, it failed to live up to the enormous expectation that surrounded it. Or maybe this was the plan all along. Maybe J. Cole named the album The Fall Off because he intended to commit the one bit. And if that's the case, you're doing amazing, sweetie. You're doing great because nobody falls off better than you at this point. around cousins. I wouldn't be me if I didn't sprinkle just a little bit of shade on top before we wrap this up. I had to because this is the same J. Cole who had plenty to say about another person's catalog and suggested that their previous work was trash. So allow me to provide a little perspective. That supposedly trash album spent more than 50 weeks inside the Billboard 200's top 50 and remained on the charts for 91 weeks total. The fall off, 18. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not gonna add any more context. You know who I'm talking about. That's all I'm going to say. Now, before the coal miners start writing think pieces and sending me carrier pigeons to my front door, there is some good news. Albums can come back. Albums can come back. Let's leave this video with a positive note. J. Cole is preparing to launch an arena tour in July, and touring often creates renewed interest in a catalog. Increased attention could lead to stronger streaming numbers, more radio play, and potentially a return to the Billboard 200. I mean, maybe J. Cole should put out a music video. I think that could help as well. So the story isn't necessarily over. But as things stand today, the album that was supposed to be J. Cole's greatest achievement has become the shortest charting studio album of his career. Funny how that works. And whether you're a fan or a critic, that's a surprising outcome. We'll see how this plays out in the end. Cousins, thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying your day. Please do me a favor, smash the like button, hype this video, and share it with somebody you love. I'll catch y'all in my next one. Later.
Hey cousin, who you chilling with?
I'm chilling with MONIE.